Added takeaways from week 1. Big tip of the cap to Sark at Texas. 38-18, they beat Billy Napier in Louisiana. We kind of felt this one. I really, in retrospect, regret we didn't put it on the Ramen Noodle Express. I mentioned this one heavily in our late night Instagram live chat on Friday night. It was our model yelled at us to take Texas, and I was just too scared to. I respect Louisiana too much. I was just too scared to. But there was a glaring mismatch here along the lines of scrimmage and overall depth, and the home environment not even withstanding, that was going to be very hard if Texas didn't turn the ball over multiple times for Louisiana to overcome. Texas scored in 5 straight possessions from about the midway point of the second quarter through early fourth quarter, and that was it. So but you can't do the thing we talked about last week. You can't be calling for the upset and then discount the win in convincing fashion when they get it because, oh, it's just Louisiana. This is huge. It's a huge win for them. Now they go to Arkansas this week. Yes, Texas at Arkansas. In week 2, that line opens at 3.5. Horns favored by 3.5 on the road. Meanwhile, up the road in Norman, not where the game was originally scheduled, by the way, Oklahoma outlasts Tulane 40-35. If you're like most people and you turn this thing off when it was 37-14, I get it. I'm not even too down on the Oklahoma defense. This is a classic box score versus eyeball test situation. If your eyes look at 40-35, here's what you think. You think, oh no, Oklahoma's defense is still terrible. Looks like Heisman favorite Spencer Rattler must have bailed him out again. That's the antithesis of what happened here. What happened is Oklahoma's offense, I would venture to say, put Alex Grinch and his defense in some pretty compromised situations yesterday. And, you know, they gave up what they gave up. I think it could have been a whole lot worse. I'm going to say some things here I haven't said yet, and I'm going to be kind of tempered with it. But you noticed, many of you did, I didn't pick Oklahoma to win the Big 12. I picked Iowa State. Part of that's for fun. Part of it's because I will back that up with money. But the other part is I don't trust Spencer Rattler like some of you do. I got to be blatantly honest with you. I don't view him as a preseason Heisman favorite. I don't view him as an elite quarterback. I don't look at him and think there's that guy and then there's everyone else. I'm not even sure he's the best quarterback on his own team. Now, I know it's become kind of popular to say that over the last 24 hours. I felt this way. I'm very careful with how I talk about college players. If we were doing an NFL show, I'd just say this stuff all the time. There is a feeling that there are some intangibles that Spencer Rattler lacks in order to be an elite quarterback. It's not all physical. Some of it's intangible. And I'm just telling you, there are some people even close to the Oklahoma program who don't look at him and say, oh, I can't stand that guy, or he'll never get there. Critical to not miscontextualize what I'm saying. There are some people very close to and inside the Oklahoma program who feel as of this moment, Spencer Rattler's still not there in some portions of the intangible side of this game. Will he get there? Don't know. They don't say no. I don't say no. But I'm telling you, as long as he's not there, Oklahoma's a little bit vulnerable. He made some terrible decisions yesterday and got bailed out in some cases, but he made some terrible decisions. I say all that to say this. Oklahoma's another really good college football team. They are not a great college football team. And so their ceiling is great. This gives them a lot to work with. It's a whole lot better than losing. But just if you want to make some sense of this, as long as you are not elite and you're just really, really good, you're vulnerable to this kind of stuff. I don't think Clemson's elite right now. They're going to be vulnerable to something weird like this happening. Alabama's probably not vulnerable to it because they're too good. Can you get to that level? You got the horses. You got the players. Time will tell. What about Florida? This is one that was really off the radar yesterday, but it's going to be really fun to follow. Florida beat FAU 35-14. Late backdoor score for the Owls gets the cover, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We got a situation in Gainesville. I mean, this quarterback situation is one that we've been talking about for like 2 weeks now, and it's something that it cannot be ignored anymore. I saw Cole Kubelik, I think, work the game in Gainesville yesterday and asked Dan Mullen about it afterwards, and he kind of gave him a non-answer, but it can't be ignored anymore. This has been bubbling. Florida fans who are really dialed into the program, insiders close to the program, this is not new. When Anthony Richardson got on the field yesterday and dropped everyone's jaw, that's not new. They've felt it. They've heard it. They've fielded the whispers. But what I had said on the show and what finally happened yesterday is forget about practice reports and whispers and intel. He's going to get on the field eventually. And it's probably going to happen in one of these first 2 games because they're going to get up by enough margin to where he's going to get put in the game. And then you're going to find out, because he's going to do something that makes it blatantly obvious he's too good to keep off the field. And he got put in the game yesterday, did Anthony Richardson, and he has shown you, I think unequivocally, he's too good to be kept off the field. I'm not telling you you're shifting starters there right now, but I'm telling Dan Mullen, of course I'm well qualified to tell him how to run his quarterback situation. I would be surprised if Anthony Richardson does not factor heavily into Florida's offensive plans now and moving forward. And I'm not talking about typical backup garbage time activity. I'm talking about being a part of the game plan first quarter on. I don't know how you keep him off the field. Really good player. If you've missed it, go check out Anthony Richardson from last night. Iowa State, we in Ames, survived Northern Iowa 16-10. Never developed any offensive rhythm yesterday. This is something that people up there locally were terrified about. No one up there wants to play Northern Iowa. None of them do. There's no benefit. It's like if Alabama or Auburn played Troy. They never do in state because they don't think there's any benefit for them. Now, people in Troy get all bent out of shape about it. And I understand. If I was Troy, and I'd yell at them too all the time. But, they look at themselves as having everything to lose and nothing to gain. Iowa State kind of felt the same way, and they almost did have everything to lose yesterday. Defense allowed a couple of big plays, and it was a survive and advance situation. That sets up the showdown this week that we're about to talk about, but there was not a lot to write home about in this game yesterday. Iowa looks like they thrashed Indiana, and they didn't offensively, but they did thrash them in a football game. 34-6 was the final. Now, the only reason it sounds condescending when I say that, it's not. What I had yesterday was I had someone texting me saying, Iowa found their offense. Well, this wasn't an offensive game. It was a turnover game. It was a defensive masterpiece by Iowa. And this is one where I had worried about Iowa. You get in your mind, Indiana can move the ball up and down the field. Is Iowa's offense going to be able to match? Well, they don't have to. They'll just take it away. And so that's exactly what they did. Michael Penix, quarterback for Indiana, 14 of something, either 20 or 29. I can't read my own handwriting. I can tell you he had 0 touchdowns and 2 picks. And that's obviously not going to get it done. Iowa wins 34-6. They had 20 points off turnovers. And now they go into Ames, Iowa this week to face the Cyclones. Again, more on that game in a second. Yesterday morning, when everyone was talking about their potential upsets during the day, I mentioned Montana over Washington. And I mentioned it because the model had pegged Montana as a play. I thought it was on some form of hallucinogenic, as machines tend to do, and so I didn't listen to it. Okay, we discounted the model just like we did with Texas, and it came back to bite us. And this computer laughed at me last night when Montana outright beat Washington 13-7. This is disastrous for the Pac-12 because they need perception wins out there. It's a disaster for Washington, obviously. At 60 more yards, they ran 16 more plays, but they were minus 3 turnovers, so none of that really matters because Washington does not have the offense to bail them out. But that was just kind of a look around added takeaways in week 1 of college football. By and large, it was as mixed a bag of results as I remember seeing in quite a while. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Welcome back, full stadiums. Welcome back, college football.